But this story is about the diversity of opinion and understanding. It's not just a simple legal analysis, okay? So we got a great panel for this. Got comedian and host of the Terrence K. Williams Show, the man himself, Terrence K. Williams, senior policy analyst of the Independent Women's Forum, and host of the podcast High Noon with Inez Stepman. High-profile attorney, host of the podcast Outdressing Me, Reasonable Doubt. You know the podcast, you know the man, Counselor Mark Geragos. It's good to have you. Thank you, each and all.
Thank you.
Let's discuss.
Good to be here.
First, let's just see if there's unanimity here before we get to my balance. Does anybody on the panel believe there will be no charges in this case and there should be no charges?
I don't think there should be charges.
Shouldn't be, yeah.
No charges, no charges?
I don't know.
Because the investigation is not enough.
It's too early to say that there shouldn't be or couldn't be.
Because?
Well, you don't know what he was doing. You don't know whether or not it was excessive. There's a whole kind of evaluation that the DA's got to go through before they file a case.
And what will be the determining factor for the DA?
Whether there was excessive force, or whether they're going to determine. They will interview everybody who was on that train. They will find out exactly what was happening in the lead up to the chokehold, and then they'll determine whether or not he was resisting at that point, whether or not there had been something, there was an assault in the, you have a right to defend others. So the person who's here has a right if that person, they keep calling him Michael Jackson impersonator, which just, I don't even.
Yeah, well, there's also another issue here, both legally and I think in the court of public opinion, right? Which is the reasonableness of a fear, right, in that subway car. How reasonable was it? In that sense, it reminds me very much of the Bernie Goetz case, right? Where the question is it reasonable to make that determination that this guy who's ranting and raving is a threat when others might not be? And actually, I think it's a condemnation on the state of the law in New York City that we are forcing people on their commutes to try to determine, is this raving schizophrenic actually a threat? Is this one not? That's actually, the indictment should be on the whole city and the crime wave in the city, because we shouldn't be subjected to having to make those decisions. I think he made the right decision, but I think the indictment should be on the city to not force people to confront this kind of decision with someone who's already been arrested for 42 times and had an outstanding warrant.
I totally agree. You know what? I don't think this should be national news. This should not be national news. This veteran, he fought and served for this country. He was trained to protect, and that's what he was doing on that subway, protecting. This should not be national news, but now people are making it about race. This has nothing to do with race.
People are going to make it what they make of it. The unfortunate part is whoever the Marine was, whether he doesn't, presumably he does not know this guy has been arrested 42 times. So that is not going to be part of the determination.
But it is part of how reasonable that fear is, right? If this guy has actually assaulted people in the past, maybe there's something in his behavior. It's not about, I agree with you, they can't know that there was all this past history.
Correct.
But if the guy has actually assaulted a bunch of people before, it goes to the reasonableness of the judgment, not only of the main guy here, but the other two in the car, determining that, yes, in fact, this guy was a threat as opposed to some other homeless man who might not have been.
There's still going to be a determination.
If he was threatening somebody, he shouldn't have been harming anyone at all.
All right,
so
but here's the problem.
This would not have happened.
The problem is he's dead.
Yes, the problem is he's dead. And you know what? I don't wish death on anybody at all. I will never celebrate the death of someone at all. And yes, if he did commit crimes in the past, that doesn't mean that he deserved to die at all. And that veteran, he said he didn't mean to kill the guy. He was just trying to protect others. So I'm not saying it's okay that he's dead. And at the same time, I just don't think this should be national news.
Well,
you say because so many people are dying. Listen, every
is a different standard
it shouldn't be this big. And people are making it about race.
Yes.
And that is what disturbs me, because black people are dying every single day. Look at Chicago. Look at the crime in New York. I really wish that we can shine a spotlight on the young black children that are gunned down every day. I wish we can shine the spotlight. No,
that's not going to get
everybody is turning this. Everybody, it should. It should.
I'm just
It should.
whether it should or
But
will.
everybody is
it's
turning
not
this
gonna
into a
get
race
you.
now. This is all they're making this a race thing now, calling it racism. Oh, this white man killed a black man. Oh, this black man deserved to live in his
Ayanna Pressley
30s.
called it a lynching
Everybody, yeah,
in
they
the
called it a
subway.
lynching.
Yeah,
This is not a lynching.
I would
Come
just,
on,
I
get
would
out of
just
here.
caution until we know
Come on.
more about
That
what was
Marine-
happening.
You know,
whether this
Geragos
was
is
an
a defense
overreaction.
attorney, by the way. So if there's
that's
anybody
fine.
who's going to fight that he shouldn't have the
That's-
charges
Yeah.
what they are,
But by
it
the
would
way,
be him.
And I could be a
wanna
juror,
know, I
so
want
that's
to know
fine.
what happened. I want to know first
Yeah.
what happened.
Right,
We
but
know somebody died, so there had to be a certain level of assault. There had to be a certain level of threat before you can kill
Look,
somebody.
you have. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.